right? And so there's just so much capital out there in the world. People compare it to digital gold. I think that's baked in the cake from my perspective over a longer time horizon. I think it's much higher than that. You know, it's people are thinking about it wrong. It's the global market for capital is $1 quadrillion, right? And right now we're at less than 1%, right, at a 1.3 trillion market cap of the world's addressable market for capital, when everything else is denominated in government currencies that over a very long period of time, if you run the clock long enough, they have a perfect track record of failure, right? And you look at the actual underlying protocol of Bitcoin, and it just seems inevitable that it's going to keep going up.
What do you think? What do you think the family office community? What would be a catalyst for adoption to go quicker into that world? The ETFs, I think, were potentially super constructive in that. But where are folks at family offices getting their guidance? Who are they turning to? And what things potentially could the Bitcoin community do to help accelerate that adoption?
I think it all comes down to education. When you have something so new as crypto as a whole, right? I mean, it's a new thing. People don't know how to think about it. So it comes down to education. If you just look at the way that a lot of family offices allocate money, they care about, volatile, risk-adjusted returns where risk is volatility. And if you just look at the data on it historically, there's a 15-year track record now of Bitcoin operating and trading. And if you add Bitcoin to a portfolio at pretty much any percentage, it improves all of these statistics that these family offices care about massively. So just getting that word out there, showing them, teaching people what it's about. I mean, the worst 4-year IRR, that's just annualized rate of return on Bitcoin. If you cherry pick the worst points for it ever over 4 years, you made 20% a year annualized. There's nothing else out there like that. So it just letting people learn about that. I don't think it'll be, I think the worst 4-year IRR moving forward will probably be lower, because guess what? Volatility on Bitcoin's coming down. Over time, it will continue to come down, but once there's no more volatility left around Bitcoin, there will be no returns left either.
Yeah, you can't get the upside without volatility either.
Exactly right. So it's just a matter of education, I think. What are you seeing in terms of interacting with family offices?
Yeah, so usually when I deal with family offices, which are the majority of my clientele, it starts with like the matriarch or patriarch giving me a call, and it's usually some version of my child or my grandchild has been talking about this, and now it's made its way into the media that they respect, whether it's a CNBC or Wall Street Journal thing or presidential candidate. And so then they start taking the first steps, to come check it out and want to, hear more about it. And that seems to transition pretty quickly. As long as Bitcoin tends to perform well, they start with a small token allocation, maybe out of faith or respect for their child or grandchild, right? Like, well, my kid thinks this is, the digital gold. All right, I'll throw a couple bucks in it. And then they, then as the momentum grows, they come back and they say, so what if we wanted to add to that position, And that's kind of, that's how the positions grow. So it's been quite a progression. And now I'm getting a lot less of those calls, and it's more their friends at other family offices have an allocation and word of mouth that way. What I think is a really interesting kind of, thing that a lot of family offices I talk to are wrestling with is the ETFs changed everything, right? And so there's a decision and a difference in knowledge base of whether or not you want to hold Bitcoin and be able to take possession of your Bitcoin, or just kind of the financial aspect of Bitcoin wrapped in an ETF is enough. So be curious your thoughts on the role of the ETFs and how you see that as well.
Yeah, so I personally have a variety of custodial solutions. But I think you have to be pragmatic about it as a Bitcoiner. If you're a true Bitcoiner, you realize the more people that own and have access to Bitcoin, the better. Is it ideal that it's in a centralized wrapper? Absolutely not. But you have to meet people where they are and how they operate, right? And that's how you get adoption. And maybe once they then buy the ETF, learn more about it, say, wow, this thing's gone up a lot, I should potentially think about owning it in other ways. And then maybe they take an in-kind redemption from the ETF, maybe one day, or they decide to self-custody themselves. And so it's just a matter of time, I think. Like I said, the world's a competitive place, and when people see these other companies that are coming out with Bitcoin treasury strategies outperform, they're going to want to start financing that. They're going to want to start buying those types of things. So it's just, it is inevitable, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think the